Hey there, today we're going to be taking a look at why exactly these two systems right here are Amazon bestsellers. That's right, this is the Beelink SER5 Max and the Beelink SER6 Max. If you've been shopping online for a mini PC at all, you have probably run across these two systems constantly on Amazon. They are all over the place. They are wildly popular, and I'm going to run down exactly why these two systems here are the most popular, because they really stand out in unique ways in comparison to the rest of the competition. That being said, there are also some hidden deals out there that you can snag if you're a savvy enough shopper. But first, let's talk about the SER5 Max. Now, the SER5 Max is rocking a Ryzen 7 5800H that is 8 cores, 16 threads, based on Zen 3, and that comes with a Radeon 8 graphics, which is based on the Vega architecture. Pretty much the fastest implementation that we ever got of Vega as an iGPU. Now, the gaming performance that we get out of a system like this is going to be passable for esports titles and older AAA titles, but more modern and newer games are really going to start to struggle on here. But the main benefit of a system like this is that you pretty much get the best iGPU that you will get at this price category. This system has pretty much been anywhere between $280 to $320. At this price point, there is no other system that has a better iGPU. You pretty much need to spend about $100 to $150 more to really actually see a meaningful jump in graphics performance, which means that this system right here that is somewhere around $300 most of the time beats out any system up to about $400. And here's the thing, the 8 cores and 16 threads that we get in here are based off of Zen 3. So that means that the 6800H and the 7735HS, which are the exact same CPU, actually don't have any meaningful performance uplift in comparison to the 5800H. Because with the 6000 series, there was no real IPC uplift. There was really only the improvement in the iGPU. And because of that, if CPU is the most important thing to you, at $300, this absolutely dominates. It completely crushes any of the Ryzen 5 based systems. And even if you get a 6000 series or 7000 series that is just a refresh, you're not seeing any meaningful uplift. You would actually have to get up into the higher end of the 7000 series, that being the 7840HS and the 7940HS, to actually see performance uplifts. And at that point, you're pretty much spending 3 times the price of this thing. So that's why this is pretty much the system that dominates at its price point. If you have $300 to spend on a mini PC, there is no real other option than the SER5 Max. Now, I'm being a bit extreme there. I would actually recommend the Trig key with the 5800H. It doesn't come with as high of a stock TDP, but it does actually have an unlocked BIOS, so you could just raise the TDP. And you don't need to go all the way up to 54 watts. Even 45 watts will get you pretty much 95% of the performance, and your system doesn't need to make any more noise or anything like that. But really, the main point is that the 5800H is such a good deal right now that unless you're trying to go for a ultra budget setup, there really is no other reason to consider anything but this. Now, I can understand if you're a bit surprised then that the SER6 Max is here, considering that I just said that there is no meaningful performance uplift between the 5800H and the 7735HS. And that is true in terms of the CPU. GPU is where there is a pretty huge difference between these two systems, and it is a big enough difference that if you're considering one, then you might just be instantly convinced to go with the other. The SER6 Max gives us the 12 core variant of the RDNA 2 based iGPU, and pairing that with the high out of the box TDP of the SER6 Max, we pretty much get some fantastic levels of performance that will really make the difference on whether or not you can actually even play certain titles. Especially if you're looking to play more modern titles, there really is no competition here. It is either you want to be able to play them or you just can't. Now, of course, if you're willing to make sacrifices like dropping the resolution down to 720p and using FSR at its most aggressive settings, and you really just don't mind sacrificing a lot of things visually, you can't get away with a lot with the SER5 Max, but the SER6 Max, with its RDNA 2 based iGPU, is just going to give you a completely different level of experience. I think the best showcase of that is the built-in benchmark for Assassin's Creed Mirage, where the SER5 Max is barely able to even get anywhere near a 30 FPS average, and our 1% lows really struggle there, while the SER6 Max now gives us a very pleasant gaming experience that would pretty much essentially be a 60 FPS average. And especially with FSR technology, this is going to feel absolutely perfect. And that's not something you can say about the SER5 Max when it comes to these newer AAA games. If you're looking to play things like Valorant or Rainbow Six Siege, then yes, you're going to be able to do it perfectly fine on either system. But it's those newer, heavier titles where the RDNA 2 graphics really start to flex their muscle, and it is going to keep your system far more relevant when it comes to gaming. Now, is that worth the extra $100-$250? That really just depends on you and how much you value being able to stay up to date with gaming. Because if the CPU again is the only thing that matters, there is really no reason to go past the SER5 Max. But if gaming is actually what you care about, the SER6 Max is at a really good price point. You get very close to the graphical performance of something like the GTX 1060 while coming in a very small box. And really right now RDNA 2 is just at a nice level of performance where RDNA 3 really did not introduce any meaningful gains. There are of course performance improvements, but they weren't really substantial. And if you already want to get really close to the level of performance of RDNA 3, get the version of the SER6 Max with the 6900HX. The 6900HX actually has a higher core clock speed for both the CPU and the GPU, and a lot of the gains that RDNA 3 came with actually came because of the increased clock speed. So actually being able to increase the clock speed of RDNA 2 pretty much gets you a lot of the way there to getting to the level of an RDNA 3 based iGPU. And at that point, you're really spending more around the difference being somewhere between $20 to $50 to go from the 7735HS to the 6900HX. But I think it's worth it, at least if gaming is really something that you care about. But that's pretty much why these two systems are the most popular right now on Amazon. They really nail it in terms of performance. They really hit a sweet spot in terms of price. And they both have a very nice, very well thought out designs that make it very easy to upgrade your system in the ways that you would really want to. Now for both systems, I would recommend getting 32 gigabytes of RAM and 1 terabyte for the stock SSD. That way it makes it extremely easy whenever you want to actually upgrade. Well, you can just use the easy mounting that's already in there and you don't actually need to open up the shroud that's underneath there, because that actually ends up being a bit of a pain. But the easy SSD upgrade internally is really worthwhile. And another thing to keep in mind is that the SER6 Max actually does have only an M.2 slot for upgrade, while the SER5 Max has a SATA SSD upgrade port. So keep that in mind if your upgrade is going to require something that needs higher speed or not. But anyways, I will catch you guys in the next one.